Today, we need to talk about something that's been making waves across the political landscape. And honestly, it's the kind of topic that makes you uncomfortable, but I think it's important we discuss it. Nick Fuentes. If you don't know who he is, you're about to find out. And if you do know who he is, well, buckle up, because his recent statements have somehow managed to be even more extreme than before. For those unfamiliar, Nick Fuentes is a far-right commentator and the self-proclaimed leader of what's called the Groyper movement. Now, he's been on the fringes of political discourse for years, but lately his influence seems to be growing, particularly among certain extremist circles. And that growth, it's raising some serious red flags. What makes Fuentes particularly interesting, and I use that word loosely, is the contradiction he embodies. Despite having Mexican heritage through his father, he openly promotes white nationalist ideology. He said things like, "We do need to be pro-white, recognizing that white people have a special heritage here as Americans." The cognitive dissonance there is honestly baffling. Now here's where things get really wild.
During a live stream on January 17th, Fuentes went after President Donald Trump.
But not for the reasons you might expect. See, progressives criticize Trump for being too harsh. Fuentes, he criticizes Trump for not being harsh enough. And I'm going to quote him directly here because I think it's important you hear exactly what he said. Fuentes stated, "My problem with Trump isn't that he's Hitler. My problem with Trump is that he is not Hitler." Let that sink in for a moment. He went on to complain about not enough deportations, not enough ICE brutality, not enough National Guard. This is someone who is openly disappointed that government actions weren't more violent. That's genuinely terrifying rhetoric. Now, something interesting happened around this time. Some progressive politicians, including former Congressman Jamal Bowman, had previously acknowledged agreeing with some of Fuentes' criticisms of Trump, and Fuentes was quick to shut that down. He made it crystal clear there's no common ground between himself and the left. He said something like, "You have all these left-wing people saying, 'Why do I agree with Nick Fuentes?' It's like I'm criticizing Trump because there's not enough deportations. Sort of a big difference." And honestly, he's right about that. The motivations are completely opposite. It's a reminder that surface-level agreement on one issue doesn't mean alignment on values. Fuentes also went into foreign policy territory, accusing Israel of holding our hand, walking us down the road toward an inevitable war with Iran. Now, this kind of isolationist rhetoric is gaining traction in certain Republican circles. There's a real tension building within the GOP between traditional pro-Israel hawks and this newer America First isolationist wing. But here's where it gets darker. Fuentes doesn't just criticize Israeli foreign policy. His views are deeply rooted in antisemitism. In an interview with Tucker Carlson, he said you cannot actually divorce Israel and the neocons from Jewishness as an ethnicity and religion. He described Jewish people as stateless, unassimilable, and claimed their religion is irreconcilable with Western civilization. These aren't policy critiques. These are textbook anti-Semitic tropes that have been used to justify persecution for centuries. And let's not dance around this. Fuentes has openly praised Adolf Hitler. He's advocated for the death penalty for Jewish people. This isn't speculation or exaggeration. These are documented statements he's made publicly. When someone tells you who they are, believe them. And Fuentes has been telling us exactly who he is for years. Now, some people might say he's just some guy on the internet, who cares? But here's the thing, his ideology is bleeding into the real world in disturbing ways. There was an incident reported recently where a self-identified Groyper, a Catholic man named Mike, refused to receive the Eucharist from an Indian woman at his church in Pennsylvania. He literally refused a religious sacrament because the person offering it wasn't white. He later bragged about it online, citing racist fears about contamination and referencing the Great Replacement theory. The Great Replacement theory is a debunked far-right white nationalist conspiracy claiming white Europeans are being deliberately replaced by non-white immigrants, orchestrated by elites through mass migration, demographic shifts, and lower white birth rates. And this theory is gaining traction in some political circles. When Mike was confronted, he admitted his actions were bad, but said he had no intention of changing. This is what happens when extremist ideology takes root. It doesn't stay online. It manifests in churches, in communities, and in everyday interactions. Perhaps the most disturbing recent example of Fuentes' influence came after the fatal shooting of Renee Good, a 37-year-old Minneapolis mother of 3, by an ICE agent. Video footage appeared to show her vehicle moving away from officers when shots were fired. Rather than expressing any human sympathy, Fuentes celebrated her death. He also praised the death of George Floyd. His exact words, "I don't think there's anything tragic about it at all. I think it's good. I think it's good that George Floyd died. I think it's good that she died. It's one less idiot in the world." I genuinely don't know how to process that level of insensitiveness. We're talking about a mother of 3 children who are now growing up without her, and this man is celebrating on a live stream. So where does President Trump stand on all this? Well, he's attempted to distance himself. On the same day as Fuentes' live stream, Trump said about anti-Semites in the GOP, "I think we don't need them. I think we don't like them." He acknowledged that one dinner in 2022 where Fuentes attended as Kanye West's guest, emphasizing he didn't know who Fuentes was at the time. Trump also pointed to his record on Israel as evidence of his stance. But here's my take. Distancing yourself with words is easy. The question is whether the party as a whole will take concrete action to marginalize these voices, or whether electoral calculations will lead to continued tolerance of extremism on the fringes. Look, I think what we're witnessing with Nick Fuentes is a symptom of something larger. There's a battle happening right now over the soul of American conservatism. It's a battle between traditional values and something much darker. The fact that someone can openly praise Hitler, celebrate deaths of mothers, promote anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, and still maintain a growing platform, that should concern all of us, regardless of political affiliation. So what do we do about this? Honestly, I think awareness is step 1. Understanding that these ideologies exist, that they're gaining followers, that they have real-world consequences. Step 2 is holding institutions accountable. Political parties, social media platforms, religious organizations, they all have a role to play in pushing back against hate. And step 3, we talk to each other. We don't let these ideas go unchallenged in our own communities. That's my take. I know this was heavy, but I appreciate you sticking with me. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's have a real conversation about this. And if you found this valuable, consider subscribing. This is the Vanguard Watch. Peace out.